Peace. So lately, I've been actually wearing a lot of colors. I've been wearing like a lot of light colors and also a lot of earth tones. And I do this every like summertime and every spring and summer. I tend to wear more lighter colors and dress more kind of gypsy bohemian because I do a lot of music events up in Boulder, up in Fort Collins in the north, and so on and so forth. And it tends to be more like kind of bluegrassy, hippie type of psychedelic type of stuff. And I tend to like feel more comfortable dancing with lighter colors on and stuff. And then when the winter months come, or the fall months rather, like September, October, November, and then December, I tend to just wear dark gray, dark brown, then black, then full on black, I'm like that throughout the silence of the winter, But I'm realizing that as I get older, that I'm really, really extremely affected by color. I don't know if it's an autistic thing. I definitely know it's a cognitive thing, but I'm just really affected by color. Like I changed my whole attitude, and also I'm affected by the weather. So if it's really cloudy, then I tend to have a cloudy sensibility, if you will, for lack of a better word, and it just envelopes me, man, and I become the weather, And I don't like being that way, but it's just a tumultuousness within the mechanism of my emotions just make me that way. And I think it's also tied into me just being an bohemian artist. A lot of artist people are very emotional people, tumultuous people, if you will, and they tend to be controlled by the environment. And case in point, I'm one of those people and everything. So I have to make a conscious decision to like engage in lighter colors, because it just makes me happy. I'm just happy. And I was talking to like my ex girlfriend who used to live in Boulder, and she lives in somewhere else now, and she used to always tell me back when we were living together, because we lived together in this place, we were roommates, and she said, man, I remember whenever you would get like frustrated, I would tell you to go put on color. Then when you would put on colors, the frustration would like drip away from you. And I thought that was interesting, because partly because I don't really remember that, but it sounds like me. It sounds like something that I would, be doing and stuff. So that go case in point, I show you how intense color is for me. It really affects me, but not only affects my mood, it also affects the way I think, Like if I'm walking down the street and I see people wearing all dark colors and they're approaching me, I clam up and I won't be as open and as friendly. I will smile. Like I'm always smiling at people on the street, especially strangers. But a lot of times I'm watchful when I see colors. There's something about the color just makes me watchful. But when I see people approach me and they're wearing really light colors, I'm more open. I'm not as watchful and stuff. And I think it's something about the color. It just relaxes the inner sensibility of me, and it helps me cope with um, socializing with strangers, because I think what it boils down to is how I socialize with strangers, and that's where a lot of anxieties comes from. How can we socialize with strangers, that's like the social situation, and that's why it accompanies with kind of anxiety and so on and so forth and everything. But when I'm engaging with color, or when I'm consumed rather by color, that kind of social aspect, the anxiety, it kind of melts away. It's almost like I have no anxiety anymore and stuff, and it's gone because I'm wearing color, Plus, I'm engaging with people with color, It's just amazing, and also I have a confidence that I don't have when I am wearing all black. When I'm wearing all black and I'm wearing dark, and I'm wearing like dark eyeliner and just like really dark, I tend to like not be as open towards people, and I tend to clam up, and I tend to be very inward, for lack of a better word, and by no means that's a bad thing. If people like to live like that, people live like that their whole life, and they're perfectly happy and stuff. Good for you. But for me, it registers something different in me. It registers kind of like a negative outlook, not on people, but on myself, And when I was going to therapy, my therapist said that I struggle with a lot of fight and flight responses, which is something I wasn't aware of, but I did some further research into it. And then I discovered that I do deal with fight and flight response, and that's something that it's in close proximity to and in conjunction with how I engage with the outer and the broader world, the broader society, either fight or flight response and everything. And a lot of it is tied into how I display myself and how I think people are perceiving me. So if I'm wearing dark clothes and I'm broadened and I'm acting like in a dark sensibility and I'm in my dark realm, I'm Inuit, then I feel like all people are like that, So I start to like be closed in and less, conversational, if you will, and that tends to be a problem because I just live that life and I start to think that that's the totality, the reality of my inner sensibility as a person that engages in conversations with people and connects with people. But in fact, that's just a made up way of behaving based on what I'm wearing. And that's what I'm affected by. And I had a friend in the past who used to always say I was a chameleon and that I'm always changing. Oh, you're always changing, like you're like a goth this month and the next month you're like a hippie. That's actually not true. I'm always the same person. I never change who I am inside. I am a gypsy. I am like a bohemian artist traveling. I've been stationary for a while now, but I have to travel in gypsy and pilgrim heart. So I never change. I'm always that person. And people who really, really know me, they know that about me. They know that, I may wear different clothes, but I'm always the same person. I'm always the artist. I'm always the dancer. I'm always the person that creates stuff, and that's never going to change. I'm always going to be that. But that's just huge, huge, tremendous, emphasis on, style and what you wear and what you present into the world. And it's almost like it's supposed to in some way illustrate who we are as people. And that's kind of a falsehood because we can never, in a nutshell, if you will, we can never illustrate who we are through fashion aesthetic. We just can't do it. It's impossible because fashions come and go, and our like and dislike for certain garments of clothes or certain type of aesthetics come and go with our moods and our certain type of outlook in the moment. So it's not something that's substantially significant pertaining to our personality and who we are as human beings and what moves us and the totality of who we are, the entity of who we are, the essence of who we are. That can only be conveyed through us really explaining the inner workings of who we are, our inner sensibilities to the world. And that can only be done by conversation and or not even not only by conversation, by people just knowing us and people feeling our vibe and people feeling, that they get us in a psychic level. That's the only way we could be fully explained to other people. But when people see us, they're gonna make a judgment call the minute they see us based on our aesthetic. That's just how America is. The only people that are not gonna do that are blind people who can't see us. But people that can see us, they're gonna base their objective opinion on our aesthetic based on their notion of what that aesthetic encompasses, and that's a sad reality, and that's why a lot of people are misjudged. You have people that walk around that wear black, and people think that they're gothic people, but they're not gothic people, they're just wearing black. Where people just assume that because people have those misleading notions, pertaining to a certain type of aesthetics based on subculture factors. It's kind of a funny thing, but to take all away that and you get the inner person. The inner person is the structuralized person, if you will, for lack of a better word. And that's the person, the trueness of who they are, the trueness of who we are as human beings, spiritual entities. It's a very deeply metaphysical, if you will, metaphysical thing. And it's kind of like the only way I could describe it is like in Hindu mythology, the Hindu religion, how they explain the Brahman, which is the higher entity, the Atman in all of us. And then we have the Ashima, which is the illusion, and which is the representative, if you will, that expresses us through words and through aesthetic. And sadly, because this world is such a visual world, we tend to see that as the ultimate, the outward appearance as the ultimate reality, when in fact it's not. It's not even skimming the surface, actually. It's not even penetrating no sense of reality, really. It's just kind of almost like this floaty language that's displayed through, aesthetic, being pointed towards the world and being illustrated to the world and stuff. And in a lot of ways being misled into a different notion, a different understanding of what people are viewing based on the person viewing you. That's basically it and everything. But getting back to my original assessment in this video blog is that, you know, um, me wearing lighter colors, like I hang out with this girl. She's a goth girl. She lives up north, and we hang out on and off and everything. And she wears all black all the time, and that's fine. She's beautiful. She looks gorgeous in black and stuff, and everything. And I keep telling her, hey, you should do experiment. You should just wear full blown colors and just walk around, because she's a very serious minded person. And I know a lot of it is because her whole life is encased in darkness, and that is nothing wrong. That is nothing wrong with that life. I've done that for like 20 years, more than 20 years, 30 years. I don't know how long I lived that life and everything, but I always somehow dabble in color. Like it was always around the springtime or the summertime, I would gauge and I'm into a lot of different music. I'm not only into like gothic and punk music, I'm into like a lot of hippie music, I'm into reggae, I'm into classical music, I'm into like folk music, I'm into a lot of different music. And I engage in different music events. I go to a lot of matter of fact, I don't even really go to like industrial or gothic stuff really anymore. And so it's because the bands I really want to see, they don't tour that much and everything. But so I tend to go to more like kind of like reggae, kind of like bluegrass, like just all kinds of different stuff that I love and I have so much fun and everything. But I still always change, I'm always going back and forth. But I feel like I'm trying to like make a firm commitment to just stay wearing lighter colors. But I still love wearing eyeliner and I still love wearing black lipstick and I still with like wearing black fingernail polish. I still like that the element. I think is beautiful of the gothic element. I love that. I like being mixed. I love the whole pastel goth thing, which I consider that's the phase I am now and stuff. But I also have a huge hippie emphasis and bohemian. I shouldn't use the word hippie. That's misleading. I should use the word more gypsy bohemian. And I just feel that it makes me happy. And I'm a happy person, but I'm prone to deep sorrow as well. It comes with the emotional tumultuousness of how I am inside. So it's very easy for me to like embrace, like, I don't get angry, and I don't really get sad. I just get withdrawn, and I think a lot of people could relate to that. And I think it's some a therapist once told me it was seasonal depression. And then I read about seasonal depression, and I was like, everyone has seasonal depression. You can't really use that as a footnote, because everyone has that basically. But some people, I think, have it more than others and everything, and they just affected by, the seasons. They're affected by weather. They're affected by cloudy days and sunny days and everything. And I know that there's some truth to that, some validation, because I am so affected, man. Like the other day when it was cloudy, like I barely spoke the whole day. So I know I go through that and everything, but I think that I countered that by wearing color, because I was wearing like sky blue and I was wearing all these colors and I was dressed really super gypsy, and I felt like I wasn't as like downcast. I didn't have a downcast sensibility, because every time I looked in the mirror, every time I walked past a car and I saw my reflection, I saw color, and what it does, it spoke to me. Like color speaks to people. I don't think people realize that it talks to us. It has an open dialogue with us. Color, it really does. That's how deep it is. That's how visual it is. And it just spoke to me of happiness. It spoke to me of lightness and of flowers and of beauty. And that got me thinking about all this really beautiful thing. And then to have those thoughts circulating in my mind is actually a really good assessment to lead me to a path for conduciveness in the realm of happiness. But when I'm going to the other scope and I'm wearing, and this is just for me, I'm not talking about other people. Everyone handles things differently. This is just speaking about me. But when I'm wearing really dark colors and I kind of like go really deep inwardly, like a really deep, like I bury myself in this deepness. And like the beatniks of the 1950s, they wrote songs and poems about that. And I do that, man. And then what I do is I go into this realm and I invent this whole narrative, just not really conducive to a happy existence or a bright existence, because it's all shrouded in shadow and darkness. And I dwell in there and I just feed off of it, and I feel comfortable because it's something I've always done my whole life. And then that's not good for me. I feel that it's not good for me, and I feel that I try to get out of that. And so I feel like I'm at a point now in my life where I can't really engage in going to clubs that have that type of illustration that are dark anymore. I just can't, because I feel that I'm so affected. Like I remember like I would go to like certain clubs that have an intense gothic theme to them, and it would affect me, man. Like when I would go home after the club, I would take a shower, and I would feel like I would take a shower to get the darkness off of me. I mean, this is some severe shit that I'm talking about, man. That I never talked to with people before, but and I feel like that. And it's not that it's negative or it's bad. It's just my mind convinces me that it. And somehow it is because I am carrying it with me. I'm taking it with me, and that's how hypersensitive people are. People who are hypersensitive, they do that, man. They take everything with them. They bring it home. They don't just go to the gothic club or to the hippie club or whatever club and just dance and have fun with their friends and they go home and everything's okay. No, the hypersensitive person, they bring everything with them. Every conversation they have, every connection they have, every person they hug, every person they like, every person they dislike, wherever the case may be, they bring all of that experience home with them. That's how the inner workings of the hypersensitive mind operates, the cognitive hypersensitive mind. And so we, as the hypersensitive people, the empath, if you will, we have to be very careful what we consume. Really, we have to really consider what we consume. Because, like me, recently I was going to a club which I thought it was really beautiful. Actually, it's a gothic club, and I just loved the people that went there. And I just loved the music, and but there was this amazingly beautiful darkness to it. And even though I loved it and I felt this sense of comfort and safety being there, I took it home with me, and I slept with it. I went to sleep and I dreamt of it, and it was best. It just consumed my mind and everything. And then I realized that it put me in a state of shadows, which wasn't a bad state. It was a comfortable state, but it was a state that made my emotions not really be bright. It made my emotions be inward. And so I had this like tumultuous inward feeling of emotional, inside of me, rather than it coming out of me and everything. So I was like, I gotta make a conscious decision not really to come here anymore, because not that it's bad, not that it's making me, a bad person, but I'm bringing home something with me, which I feel is a good thing, but I feel like it's not helping me in the areas that I want help, which is I want to bring myself out. I don't want to bring myself in. And that's the whole thing with me. And that's how it always been with me being like a punk person and being a goth person, is that I always internalize everything, and that safety net, internalizing everything and going inward was something that I craved. Is something that I loved for so many years. And I'm at a point right now where I'm thinking it's really beautiful. I love it as a beauty of safety, but I want to be the opposite of that. I want to walk in light now. I want to. Who knows if this will last? It may not. A lot of times I change, and I'm like, well, okay, I want to engage in this. When the September comes and it starts getting cold and cloudy, I'm like, well, I just want to like go to gothic clubs. And I just want to be dark and I want to be internalized. So who knows? I'm always changing, but right now I feel like for lack of a better word, I see the light. And for me, this is just for me. This is not for other people. I'm not giving anyone opinions about anything. I'm saying for me, it's like I see the light and I really like it, man, and it makes me happy. And not only that, this is like really weird, but like when I wear like really light, like this shirt, this tie dye shirt, which is pink and blue, and like when I wear it, other people see it, and other people gravitate towards it, and they want to talk to me and they want to see what I'm about, because they think that I'm like some artist. Like people been come up to me and say, what do you do? Are you a musician? Are you an artist? Which I am a musician. I am an artist. But I think I dress more so like that lately. I'm expressing my innerness more now. And when people come up to me, a lot of times I would think, oh, people in Denver, they're just not nice. They just so close. They don't really make eye contact. They don't look at you. They don't talk to you and everything. But now I'm experiencing the very opposite. I thought Boulder was the only place that people were more open and people talk to you more, because it's a college town and it tends to be more open, and stuff like that. And people engage in conversation more in Boulder. But I felt that I didn't have that kind of experience in Denver. But lately, because I've been wearing a lot of light colors, I'm attracting people to me. And yes, you could argue the point, hey, I don't want I want people to talk to me. I want people to be left me alone. And that's how I've been for a long time too. But I'm feeling like I really do like people. I really like meeting strangers. I really like engaging in conversation with people, and it just makes me happy. And I think that that's one of my purposes in life is to be kind to people and to be open to people, and also to express my creativity for people to create them their own. For people to look at me and be like, "Well, that guy's interesting. That guy's creating this whole world of creativity. I could do the same thing." And for they will be less, trapped in the world of being afraid to express themselves. I think one of my aims in life is to be a coach to other humans, to be like, look, you could be an artist, you could be, different and out there and everything and interesting, and come out of your shell and everything, and not be so afraid to express yourself. I think when people see me expressing myself to the level that I do it, I think it's gonna help people. And so that's what I want to do. And I think that like lately now I see Denver in a different light now. Now I see Denver as being a really friendly city, and I see people as just being really open and friendly. And I know it's because I'm just dressed differently now, and I'm wearing more lighter. I look more approachable now than when I was wearing like really black and really punk and all my chains and everything and my collar. People will still look at me and think I was interesting, and people would still, in a lot of instances, would be nice to me, but a lot of times it would take them a long time to talk to me. Because they would be like, well, I don't know what this guy's about. He looks like he's a metalhead or a goth or something, a punk, and maybe he'd get mad if I talk to him, so I'm just not going to look at him. And people would be more close, and in time, people would talk to me and be like, oh, this guy's really friendly, he's really nice. And those people I'm still friends with to this day, and everything. But it took them a long time to be comfortable with me because I just seemed so close to them, and I seemed like I wasn't approachable. But now I see I'm more approachable because I look like some weird, crazy person from the 70s and stuff. And I think that people are like, well, that's interesting. What are you about? And then they don't not as afraid. And so people just been coming up to me, talking to me. Like the other day I was in Tatted Colors, and this lady, this conservative, just came up to me and sat at my table and put her arms on the table. She said, what are you doing? Because I was sewing, I'm making these really cool pants. And I was sewing, and she's like, what are you doing? What are you making? Let me see what you're doing. She touched it. And so I was like, that would have never happened if I was wearing like all punk stuff. But she just took it upon herself to talk to me because I had a very inviting demeanor about me. And I think that there's another thing. Every time I look in the mirror, like when I go to the bathroom, I'm like, see myself with lighter colors. I smile more, and I'm just more open, and then that attracts people to me. And that's what I want. I know there's a lot of people that don't want that. They just want to be like in their own world, which that's totally fine. I've done that for 30 years, for many, many years. And so, but I always at the summer and springtime walk color, but now I feel like I want to do it more so in the winters, and just like be a conjurer. And for conjuring, is that the word? Conjuring? Thing. For happiness, the world and stuff and everything. But the whole premise of this video was that I was just gonna say that people should experiment. People with different colors and being more, just more gypsy and more flowy. And also another emphasis. This is probably the more whimsical part of this video, but is I'm really into like elves. I really am. I'm really into the mythology of elves and stuff like that. And I love it. I always have for many years, and I feel more like an elf actually. And that sounds weird, but like what I mean by that is I mean like I feel like magical. I feel like I'm a magical person. I feel like it's more illustrates who I really am. Like what's inside of me is magic. And also what's outside how I express myself outwardly is magical as well. So I feel like because a lot of times when I was wearing more punky, more gothic, I would be like when people were withdrawn and not really making eye contact with me and kind of afraid because I don't look approachable. I would think to myself, well, if you talk to me, you will find out that I'm a magical person and I'm more like a child than an adult, and I could make you happy if you talk to me. And so a lot of times I would have that thought in my mind, and everything, and like, but now I don't have to have that thought in my mind because just the way I look expresses that to people. So people will be like, well, this person is probably a magical, hippie or bohemian person. This person's probably really nice. Let me talk to this person. So now I don't really have to feel that feeling of, God, just get to talk to me and you will see that I'm a nice person. I don't have to do that because the way I dress these days is illustrating that I may be into magic, that I may be into being approached by strangers, giving them the benefit, give me the benefit, my aesthetic is really open to it's just illustrating that, and that's the part I like the most about it. And I'm not saying anyone should change, and I'm just saying that do experiment. Like my friend, I'm trying to get her to like wear lighter to just one time. Yeah, I love the fact that she dresses all goth and everything when we hang out, and I dress the way and I look all gypsy and everything. It looks beautiful. We look beautiful together. together. But I'm like keep saying, come on, just see how you won't be as serious because she has this serious demeanor a lot of times. I know it's because she just has this whole dark thing going, which is totally fine and beautiful too and amazing. And that's the other day we were hanging out and she was wearing like this long flowy stuff that was like very gypsy, but it was just all black and everything. I go, man, if you just had one garment that was lighter and everything, you'll feel lighter. But we look beautiful together. We actually match each other no matter what we wear and everything. But I think that it will help because she has the same tumultuousness with her emotions, and I think a lot of it is based on that she surrounds herself in pure darkness all the time, and she's an empath herself, and she's hypersensitive herself, so it affects her. But she's like, no, I'm happy, and everything. So I don't know, maybe she is happy, who knows, But I just know for me, I was happy, but I was also prone to unhappiness because I'm an empath, and when you're an empath, people think when you're an empath, you just an empath towards outward stuff. But when you're an empath, that means you're an empath inwardly too. That means you're affected by sensitive stuff as well. So it's not just pertaining to the outer world, the broader society. It has a lot to do with your inwardness, your inner essence. Being an empath as well. You affect that too. And everything. I don't think a lot of people get that part of it. But anyway, so this video blog is really supposed to be about color. Like I feel like everyone lighter colors. I feel like really light, really happy, more happier. And who knows if it lasts? But I just know right now. I hope it would. Because I feel like I'm on a good path. Like I'm moving steadily on this good path. I think it's pretty awesome.